Our contributions in education will be our legacy in this industry.
Whether it's through live education or maybe through social media, we're always trying to make a personal connection with you, the learner.
At Sanvia, we believe our smile is our business card and our personality is our logo. And how we make people feel after you experience our education and tools is our trademark.
Join us.
Join us.
Join us.
Join us, my friends, and be a part of the Sanvia community.
What's up, everybody? Welcome to another episode of Wellness Wednesday. I'm Andrew Carruthers, Education Director for Sanvia. I feel like I can probably stop saying that over and over and over again, but hey, it just feels good to say it, right? So today we've got a super special guest on Wellness Wednesday. We've got Sammy himself. We'll bring him on in just a minute. Before we do so, just want to give you a brief update on what's coming up educationally. We've got, of course, Wellness Wednesday tonight, you see there. Next Monday, we are taking a break from Mannequin Mondays, so we'll not have Mannequin Monday next Monday. But Tuesday, September 8th, we have one of our favorite online educators, and educators just in general, Mr. Matt Beck from freesaloneducation.com. He's coming over to teach us about the modern shag. Then Wellness Wednesday, if you have not met Kelly Mason yet and you're into wellness, you should really look her up because she is the master of wellness. She is an intuitive coach. She's a Reiki facilitator. I mean, this girl does it all, and she owns a salon, so she mixes it all together. And if you are in our student or in one of our partner schools, we have an awesome event for you next Thursday, September 10th. That's going to be with Sam and I. We're going to be talking about when to use razors versus shears. You got to be part of our school program to attend that. But if you're out there and you're part of our school program, make sure you check in with your educators at the school because you're definitely not going to want to miss that. Now, before I get to Sammy, I do have to let you know we did extend our 40% off site-wide sale till tomorrow, September 3rd. So if you are looking for tools, now would be a really good time to get them because that's about what I pay. And I'm the education director. So 40% off until tomorrow evening. Just head to samvia.com for that. So that's what's up. That's what's happening in our world. So let's bring up our guest of the honor tonight. Who is it? Oh, look who it is.
The magic happens, right? When you just blow up. How are you, buddy?
How you doing, buddy?
I'm good. I'm glad to be here with you.
Yeah, I'm super stoked about this because this is kind of a special thing for me to get to do tonight, which is just talk to you about your history, your path. I think what will be really exciting for people to hear is where you started out, where you kind of picked things up. I think you've got I've heard a couple of fantastic stories about your beginnings in the hair industry and how tumultuous they were. But if you're watching, we'd love to know where you're watching from. So type into the chat where you're from. Sonal's here from Tampa, Florida. We've got Estella Hernandez in the house saying best scissors, love them. Thank you, Estella. Oh, Carla Valenzuela's in the house. What's up, Carla?
Sarah Mack.
Sarah Mack's here. Clay Liz, Melanie Switzer. We've got bunches. Toronto's in the house. Atlanta, Georgia. Farah, how you doing? Yeah. Australia's in the house. Redken, California. Hope it's not too smoky down there, Kathy.
My niece, Selena, is in the house, so she will probably correct me on some things if I get them wrong.
Yeah, and Selena, don't hold back. Hold him accountable to the truth. We've got Australia in the house, so Very cool. That's one of the things I love, Sam, is I just love how we pull from all corners of the country, but then also all corners of the world.
Yes. Yeah, we're pretty out there in terms of reach, and which is so great. And it's awesome to have the opportunity to even touch those people and share with those people. So pretty excited about that reach.
Yes. Hey, before we get too far, what you drinking?
Oh, well, you said have a cocktail, so I'm having a glass of wine.
Oh,
Cheers.
nice. Cheers. Sammy and I felt like it was a special occasion, so we were like, let's have a cocktail while we're doing this one. So cheers, guys. I hope you have a cocktail with you.
Well, beer and wine are my choice, and maybe some, maybe alcoholic beverage is not your choice, but we invite you to grab a beverage of your choice and join us if you so desire. Selena, make sure my brother Eloy's got one in his hand. I know he does.
So, Sammy, I don't want to take us too far back, but just maybe tell us where you grew up and your story of growing up. Just a little touch of that.
Yeah, you bet, Andrew. I grew up in New Mexico, the state of New Mexico, in Carlsbad, New Mexico, actually. I was born in Artesia, but Carlsbad was where my father had his barbershop. And that's pretty much where I started having a relationship with hair, was actually sweeping all the hair and shining shoes in the barbershop. And I have to be honest, I actually hated it, Andrew. I just didn't like it. I'd be going down the road at 7 a.m. down the house on a Saturday summer day, and my friends would all be on their bikes, tricycles, or whatever, and I'd be in the car heading off to the barbershop. But that's where it began, was there. And then my dad, it was the mines. The mines kind of closed down, picked up the family, and he moved us to California, which is where his part of the family was. And he went to barber school to become a master stylist in Salinas, California. And I lived in Watsonville, California. Didn't really like and enjoy it there. It was quite different from where I came from, a small town, Carlsbad. And if anybody's out there heard of the Carlsbad Caverns, just type in yes. But that's what it was known for, was for that, aside from the mines. But that's where it started, Andrew. And then I went on to high school. We moved to Santa Cruz, California, which I fell in love with. Santa Cruz is very much the northern Santa Barbara. It's the Santa Barbara of Northern California. Let me say it that way. And grew up there, went to high school there. And from there, I went on, to do what I'm doing. And interesting how things fell in place.
Definitely. And prayers to Santa Cruz, right? Oh, for sure.
Yeah. Yes. Yeah. But, from there, Santa Cruz, I pretty much, my parents were great parents in regards to, my father has passed away. My mom is still with us, fortunately, but they were great parents in the fact that, Andrew, they really encouraged us to get involved in school. So I really got involved with sports. That was my thing. I really enjoyed sports, really got into just about everything. I finished high school and was coaching sports, but I got into volleyball and really pursued volleyball in college. And then I dropped out of volleyball my junior year in college to come home one weekend and say, I want to go to beauty school. My dad was kind of like clapping. My mom was like, what? You want to do what? I go, yeah, I want to go to cosmetology school. I don't want to go to barber school and do what dad's doing, but I'd like to go to cosmetology school. And off I went to a great school, Andrew. It was in San Mateo, California. It was north of Santa Cruz, about an hour 15. And it was Sally Ponce and Peter Hans. Now, Sally Ponce, it was called Ponce College of Beauty in San Mateo. Sally was the women's Olympic coach for hair competitions. So it was a really good school. And Peter Hans was known for rod transfer perms. Now, you probably weren't born, buddy, but this was in 1970. Let's see, beauty school 76, back in 1976.
I was 1 year after that.
Okay, I thought so. And that's when I started school. And what's so funny is I was in school probably about 3 months into school, and my teacher came over to me. She said, Sam, and she put her hands on my shoulders, Sam, and just looked at me. She goes, your rollers, they're falling out underneath the dryer. You need to go put them back in, and you might want to think about doing something else. And that statement was like, whoa, because I was having a really hard time. I mean, I was an athlete, and here I was, trying to do things. And then that weekend, my father called me up and said, hey, let's go to a hair show. And
Sam, can I ask you a quick question before you get into the hair show?
Yep.
when you were in the barbershop and stuff, and I know it wouldn't, be under the radar, but did you really touch hair at all before you went to hair school, or was it pretty much like you hadn't even touched hair before hair school?
I touched it when I picked it up after sweeping. But
Good
no,
answer.
you know what was cool was my dad was so cool. He was smart enough when I came back and said, I want to go to cosmetology school. When I would come home after being at school for, almost, 6 months, I'd come back and say, hey, Dad, show me. I got this, I'm learning this. And I go, show me something. He goes, no, I'm not going to show you anything. You're going to learn what they're going to teach you in school.
Well,
So he was pretty smart about that. Yeah, he did. Get me outside of those boundaries. He wanted me to focus on those fundamentals, like we so much talk about, and those, building those fundamentals. So he didn't want to share with me any advanced or things that might change me and alter me in a different direction. So that was pretty cool.
That's awesome.
Yeah, but there was that. What really affected me in the industry was when we went to that hair show.
Mm-hmm.
Picked me up early. He was a very smart man. Picked me up early. We went to San Francisco. I'll never forget, at the Hyatt Regency. And I said, who are we going to go see? He says, oh, we're going to see Vidal Sassoon. Now, remember, this was 1976. So Vidal was like,
just on fire at that point.
Oh, gosh, huge, Andrew. Every magazine I opened up, you would see Sassoon. So he took me to the show, and he was smart, got us there in the front line. And he sat me right in the middle. I think we were like second or third row. And I started to watch Christopher Broker, Alan Benfield Bush, Roger Thompson, and Vidal. He did a little hair, but he was more kind of emceeing and talking. Mm-hmm. But I watched these guys just take this Asian hair and melt it. And I was like on the edge of my seat. My dad grabbed me, said, sit back. And I said, Dad, excuse me, I want to do that someday. He said, do what? I said, I want to be up there someday. He goes, son, eyes here, Samuel, son, It's like, that's all ego and no money. So if you choose to do that, you do it the right way. You stay, humble. But prove to me you can make some money. So I went back to school after that, Andrew, with more purpose, not so much a goal, but more purpose. I had to prove to my teacher, okay, I'm going to get these damn things to stay in, these rollers. Yeah. They're going to stay in. And, all of a sudden, a month after, I'm just cutting straight lines. And my teacher came and she goes, what's up? You're doing really good, Sam. And so I said, I'm going to be a platform artist one day. And she kind of rolled her eyes. What? I went to the, how'd you get tickets for that? I said, my dad got tickets. I really enjoyed it and said, I want to do that someday. She goes, well, just keep doing what you're doing and stay focused. So sounds
like you just needed something like get the passion part connected with you, where it was like, I'd imagine when you first got there, you're like, oh yeah, this is cool. I'm going to hair school. But, it probably took seeing what the potential was to just get that spark inside of you. That's like, whoa, okay. Now I kind of see what the potential is.
Well, now I understand when a lot of the young students will come up to me at the hair show, they come up to us, Andrew, and they say, hey, you've inspired me. I want to do what you do. I think anybody can do what I do. I mean, you're a human being. I'm a human being. The only difference between the people that are out there and me is that I practice these things a little bit more. And maybe it's I practice them with intent and purpose. Right. But I think, once you, like you say, once you get that spark, it's that passion in life that is so important, especially today. Especially today.
So did you pass your state boards the first time?
Yes, I did. And
no rollers fell out?
Yeah, exactly. No rollers fell. I'll never forget finger waves, though. My aunt was my model. Yeah. And in those days, Andrew, I had to wait a month until I could find out if I passed. I had to wait a month. Oh, yeah. So it was a very stressful month. But yes, I finally got my notice of my license that I had passed. And then from there, I went on to work. And I interviewed with Yosh Toya for some of those.
I was going to say, didn't you?
Yeah.
Did you work with him, or did you?
No, I didn't have an opportunity to work with him. I interviewed with him, and he wanted me to work in his Palo Alto location. And I really wanted to work in San Francisco downtown. And he said, I really want you in Palo Alto. Then I had another interview I went to, and that was with, Hubert Braun, yeah, Hubert Braun salons. They were big salons in Palo Alto, and then he said, bring a model. I brought him. He said, you know what? He goes, you could be on the floor now. He said you could be on the floor now. And I thought, oh. So then I went back and I had another interview at a salon, and the guy said, look, I got a chair for you. Want to do it? And then based upon what I got from Hubert Braun salon, I thought, yeah, I'll go for it. But I was always the easiest ticket sale. Meaning when the sales consultants came in to sell a ticket for education, they knew Sam will buy a ticket.
Yeah.
And Sam will buy a ticket. And I did. I went to every educational event I could. It was, I just loved education and shows. I just saw someone say, I miss live shows. I miss them too. I miss that connection and that relationship and some really good fun times at those shows.
What were shows like at that point? Were they pretty different from what they are today?
All flash, smoke, mirrors. In those days, it was all about that. I was with a company called Hayashi, if anybody recalls that. Okay, and it was a wet line, and they really built up the brand internationally. They kind of came through the back door, but they were an LA brand, wet line. But they built up internationally, came in through the back door. But we were known for what, in all respect for the brand at that time and what we were doing, because we were getting noticed. But we were doing things where we were fast cutting and speed cutting, and scissors were twirling and this kind of action. Snowballs of moose were flying, up, and two were crossing. It was a show, And there was a group out there, guys who probably remember Altieri Brothers, and they they were very much the same. But that's what it's about. Is in those days, that's what got the attention. Was the more flash and dance you had, the more attention you get. I was there with Hayashi. I learned so much with that brand. That's where I learned my showmanship. That's where I learned stage presence. That's where I learned working with people that there's a lack of communication, traveling internationally, and trying to work, speaking more with your hands. So it really taught me to teach that way. But got to a point, Andrew, where I just threw in the towel and said, you know what? I really want to teach. I really want to turn my focus and teach. Yeah. And at that point, I decided to leave. And I was getting ready to sign with Joico and Jeremac. It was kind of tossing up between those two. And I received a call from Terry Donnelly, who was the artistic director for Redken. And she said, hey, we're putting this team together. Would you come in and audition? I said, I'd love to. Funny story. I got my audition date, which was the Tuesday after Salon International. So I usually would go to Salon International in London, go take what I would call my hair sabbatical and sit in the audience and learn, which is a great show if anybody ever gets a chance. And I had my audition Tuesday. So I came back Monday, and you had to have a model half cut. I showed up at the Hyatt, had my model half cut, showed up. But before I went there, I picked up my mail at the salon, and I had a stack of it. I happened to see something from Redken, thought nothing of it. So then I went to my audition, and I went up front. I'm here for Redken's audition. They said, oh, that was yesterday. And I said, excuse me, no, that's today. They go, sir, that was yesterday. I go, that was yesterday. And they're like, yes, sir, they're not here today. There's no room scheduled. No breakout room is scheduled for these auditions. They had it scheduled yesterday. Oops. So then, Andrew, I thought about those letters. So I went back, got my letter, opened it up, and sure enough, they changed my audition to Monday. So they moved it. So then I thought, oh my gosh. So then I went to the front desk. I said, is there a lady still checked in named Terry Donnelly? They said, yes, she has not checked out. She's due to check out today. And I thought, oh my gosh. So I wrote her a letter, went to the bellman and I explained the story. And I gave him a tip, said, would you take this to her room and slide it underneath her door? He said, sure, be happy to. He came back. I waited, nothing. So then I thought, well, let me look around. So my model and I are looking for her. Maybe she's having breakfast for an hour. No Terry Donnelly. So then I told my model, go. This is not going to happen. Let's go across the street. I'll cut your hair at the park. She's like, no, Sam, too stressed. We'll do it at the salon. So I wrote another letter, said sorry, explained to her what happened, all that. And then as I'm writing it and sitting in the car out the front, the bellman comes out. He says, excuse me, sir, that lady you want to talk to, she's on the phone. She wants to talk to you.
Nice.
So I got on the phone. I said, Terry, blah, blah. She goes, hush up. She goes, I got the room back. Let's get your model. Let's get your audition in. I'd love to audition you. And I'm like, Terry, I sent my model out. I couldn't find you. I've been looking for you. She goes, well, you're a man of show experience. I'll give you 30 minutes to find a model. And I thought, oh my gosh. I said, I'll find it. So I hung up the phone. Now, Andrew, I'm walking around with my portfolio in the hotel lobby, showing it to people, trying to get them. Now, this is my avant-garde portfolio. At that time, I loved avant-garde. And everybody was like, no, no. And the bellman's watching me. And he goes like this. I come over, I go, oh man, I'm in trouble for doing this. He goes, look, he goes, I think I can help you out. The girl coming behind me, I spoke to her. She's coming to take my shift. It's her shift. I'm getting off. He goes, I'm going to cover her. She wants a haircut.
Oh, cool. Perfect.
Said, no kidding. So he goes, let me go grab her. She comes out. Naturally curly hair. Okay. Naturally curly hair. And I thought, oh my gosh. And I go, well, I got to get half this head. So I took her to the room. I cut half the head in that Nefertiti, in that spoon, short to long cut, left half the head. So Terry Donnelly walks in the room. She's like, oh my God, you not only got a model, you got her head half cut. And she goes, are you ready? And she had a little stage and she sits behind a table. I go, I'm ready. She takes out her notebook. I run off the stage to the door and she looks at my model. She's like, does he have to go pee? And the model's like, I don't know. So I go at the door, ladies and gentlemen, please welcome from Redken, Zambia. And she's like this at the table, like, she's looking for where all the people are. I get up there. Hi, everybody. I start doing my thing. I'm cutting away, explaining what, how, why. She's taking notes, man. I go, my little voice goes, she's tearing you up, brother. She's ripping you. But it just, do what you believe in. So after I was done, she took the haircut. She said, great haircut. She said, sit down. She goes, she looks at me and she kind of leans in. She goes, I hate to give you some news. And I'm like, oh man, I didn't make it. She goes, you're overqualified. I go, what? She goes, Sam. I go, what about all the notes? And she goes, are you kidding? I'm stealing your stuff. And I'm laughing and she's laughing. She goes, look, you could be what they call the National Performing Artist, NPA. She goes, but I need to make you, start at the bottom because I don't want to put you up here where you belong. And then people are stabbing you in the back. So just come in, do your thing. In 6 months, I'll have your level. So that's where my Redken journey started with that crazy audition.
Yeah. Well, what I love, Sammy, is like, this is something that I think, like, I feel like you should share part of that story, especially with students, because that was one thing that Tyson really pushed me on, is that you kind of have to be willing to just do whatever it takes to get that person. Like, to me, it was get that person in your chair and, just walking around, actually just putting yourself out there and just walking up to someone with never meeting them before and saying, hey, I could really use a model to go up to this hotel room right now and do a haircut. I'm sure that was tough, but that's the difference between getting the opportunity and not getting the opportunity. Like, you could have really easily just been like, man, my model's gone. I'll try again next time. But you worked for it, and that's what got you the opportunity.
Yeah, I mean, everybody has an opportunity. It's just, you just have to know that it's in front of you, and that, like I said, if I can do this, anybody can do it. It's just a matter of a focus. Like a lot of people go, how'd you get where you're at? I really believe it's through the process of people have pushed me to the top, Andrew. I really believe that the people have pushed me to the top. And it's because the attitude and the belief of Sam and us as a brand is, we want to share, we want to help people grow. One thing my dad always said, if you can help people get what they want, you will get what you want. And he said, he goes, look, that man wants a good shoe shine. Give him a good shoe shine and you're going to get a tip. Basically what he said, he goes, you're going to get a tip. But if you don't put energy into it and snap the towel and put your body into it and you just do it relaxed. He goes, you're not going to get a tip. He goes, but give them a show, give them a good shoe shine. And that's what I focused on. So that was a good learning lesson there.
For sure. And you actually owned your own salon, didn't you?
Oh gosh, those were great days, Andrew. Some really good days. Matter of fact, I was talking to Lisa, my wife, about it this morning. I think we were talking about it. And I had the salon for 20 years. And I'll be really honest, 2 of the happiest days of my life, 1 when I opened it and 2 when I got rid of it.
I feel the same way about my time as an owner too.
Right? But do I miss it, Andrew? Do we miss it? Yes. What I miss is the camaraderie. I miss the team. I miss some of the clients, but I love what I'm doing. But the salon was a lot of fun. I had an opportunity today to attend a PBA conference and listen to this man, Josh, and I loved listening to him. And one of these said, what he was talking about, reinvention. And it's about, I think what we did in those days was to create my team. There were things that I would do that were abnormal. They were thinking, you did that? You actually did that? An example would be, I would play a joke on my team and only my salon coordinator knew. And I would tell her, book this day with fake appointments, put everybody in with fake appointments. And then I'd tell the team, I'd say, okay, everybody at 9 a.m. show up. We're going to have an insurance meeting. And then my insurance guy, who was my best friend, would show up with boxes. But meanwhile, he and I were down in the garage filling up water balloons and put the water balloons in the boxes. So we would walk in the salon. Now, the night before, I called the husbands and all the boyfriends and said, look, I'm going to take the girls. We're going to go to the wine country, but I'm going to nail them with water balloons. Make sure you put a nice outfit in for their car in the back of the trunk for them. They would crack up. They were like, what? I go, I'm just asking you to do that. Will you do that? Yes. Okay. So we would I'd get them all seated up in the corner of the salon, walked in, and we nailed them. They couldn't get out. They were nailed with water balloons. And then I'd say, happy sneak day. And they knew what that meant when it was sneak day. Yeah, we got a free day. And that's when I would have the limo pull up with their favorite drinks. And then I'd say, okay, vent. Yeah, vent. Tell me. And then when we'd get to wine, I go out one by one with them. Okay, you okay? Tell me, one-on-one, let's chat. So it was a great way to connect with my team. And they always looked forward to that. We always had great Christmas parties. We actually would clean out the salon. I'd set up a great red long tablecloth, have it catered in. Santa Claus would show up. I mean, it's so important to have things like that, to do it. But I really had some great partners, Melanie Morningstar, Tina Palomares, Michael Colazzi, some really good people, some really good mentors and coaches along the way that helped me to grow that salon. Sometimes big is not better. We started out with 3 people and we grew to like 22 people. Then I knocked it back down to 10 and realized, sometimes big is not better. That small, good group of people really connected really well. But those were good times, salon times. I miss those. And a lot of people ask me, well, you're not in the salon now, but you're teaching us. I go, yeah, that's, I have a handful of people that I'll do their hair, but I try, true, and test things a lot before we teach it. I think that's so important that we believe in what we're teaching. And we're actually giving them something that will work. Now, whether they agree or disagree, that's their choice. But we really believe in what it is that we're giving.
Yeah, for sure. So when did you sell the salon and head out to New York?
Actually ended up closing it. And, it was really interesting. What made me realize that to get rid of that was when I came back from an event one day and they're all in the office and they were waiting for me. And I walked in and thought, okay, you're going to walk out on me? They go, no, you taught us to be really face to face with you. So we're letting you know that the salon's just not the same when you're not here. Mm-hmm. We're here because of you, Sam. And, you're always teaching us something when you're here. It's just not the same. It's not the same vibe. We miss you.
Mm-hmm.
So
traveling a bunch during that time?
Yes, I was traveling with Hayashi at that time. And so then I realized Hayashi, and then I went on to Redken. So then I realized, okay, I need to write the last chapter on this book and let's start a new book. And the new book was, I wanted to touch more people. The new book was that I could reach more people if I focused on really being an educator and going out and doing all the shows and doing all the education and doing in-salon classes. So that's what I chose to do. So I came back at the next salon meeting and told them, all right, I've made a choice. Thank you for your honesty. I've made a choice to go ahead and sell, close, but that's the choice I've made. So a lot of them were disappointed that they ever said anything, but then they realized that I knew that if I wasn't there, that if I was there, then someone wasn't happy, and that would be me. So how much good would I be for them? So it's kind of a little bit of a tug of war in terms of the thoughts that went through, but I really enjoy and love what I'm doing now. And it was funny, the next day the phone was ringing off the hook, and it was other salon owners saying, hey, I heard that you're closing and or you're selling and you have teammates. I'll take 4. I'll take 5. I got 5 chairs. So it was easy to job place everybody. But
Sure.
yeah, that was 20 years, 20 great years that I've learned so much. But then that new book started. And that's when I focused on really teaching. And then Redken popped up, and Redken was like, okay, can you move to New York? We want you as a Redken artistic director. And the wife at that time was with Redken also, and she became manager of the Redken Exchange. Mm-hmm. So, we moved on, and it started from there. I have to say, Andrew, that Redken really gave me the resources, put the right teachers in front of me to teach me, Blair Singer, to teach me how to be learner focused, to teach me how to be a true teacher in today's world, and not understand that it's about the people that are sitting in front of you. It's not about you standing up in front of people and your accolades and all this. So I have to give Redken a lot of credit in regards to those resources and making me who I am today as regards to the teacher.
Yeah, I know that a lot of people, they can be resistant to wanting to work for a brand at times because they're like, well, I don't want to work for a company and all this stuff, but it's hard to beat the resources that a big brand has to offer their artists in the training level. Because I worked for a couple big brands like TJ and Tony Guy and Paul Mitchell. And yeah, kind of similar experience. They just offered so much and gave us so much. So, if you're thinking about being an educator out there, definitely don't take working for a brand off the table.
Yep, I totally agree. There's a lot of them out there, and we're all about brands supporting brands. I love the comment from Louise. Check it out.
I kind of scanned through it real quick. That's awesome.
Thank you, Louise, for sharing. You do remember those days. I guess she was a client at the time, and the receptionist called her and said, hey, we're having our sneak day, or I'm going to put you down for a fake appointment and move your appointment. Funny. Yep. See, but that's the thing, Andrew, is even as an educator today, what's so important is to make a connection. I really mean it when I say that people push me to the top. And it's because I really believe that what we do as a brand and what we teach as a brand, it really helps a lot of people, and they appreciate that. And that's the support we get.
So as far as, you moved to New York, you're pretty much, are you at the exchange most of the time, or are you traveling?
I was at the exchange and traveling a lot. Matter of fact, God, those were some really busy times for about, up to COVID, really up to COVID, constantly busy. I would say people go, how much do you travel? And my answer was, well, I can tell you how much I'm at home. And my answer would always be an average of 8 to 10 days a month. I would be home. The rest of the time I was on the road, pretty much. So constantly on the road, and the road has taught me so much, and I've had some great, great time. I mean, Andrew, the places I've seen, the people I've met, without education, I probably would never have had that opportunity. A Mexican boy coming from New Mexico and having the opportunity to go to these great places and meeting these fabulous, interesting, famous people. I mean, I just never thought that could happen. And some great fun times. I'll never forget. People go, what's the most funniest or shocking moment you've ever had? That would have to be in Marrakesh, Morocco. I don't know if I shared this story with you. Maybe I have. I know
sure.
We've shared a lot, but this was
with the bodyguard guy.
No, yeah, well, that was part of that was turkey, instant milk turkey.
Oh, okay.
Turkey. But in Marrakesh, Morocco, it was Redken, Belgium, rented out Club Med in Marrakesh. Imagine that. So we had Club Med. So they had like, oh God, maybe 200 hairdressers to take over Club Med. Now imagine that, my friends, the party. And I mean, and I was focused on education now, just a reminder. But they said, hey, Sam, the education manager, we're going to have you do education at the poolside. They all want you to do a poolside. I said, okay, they'll be in lounge. No, they'll be in lounge chairs and in the pool. Not a problem. We're going to get you a little tent. Just wear sunglasses, but we're going to have a little tent. You and your model will be underneath the tent. Not a problem. In those days, we had models. So mannequins. So I thought, okay, they come back. They in the prep room at one of the rooms in the hotel. They said, okay, Sam, we're ready for you. They walk me out, and I come in the tent, and I'm coming from behind it. And he introduces me. I come up. I start talking. I'm like, I kind of stumble. Andrew, they were all topless.
Mm-hmm.
They were all topless, and he's in the back cracking up. And no wonder he asked me to wear sunglasses. And I was like, oh my gosh. But that was like, oh, that's right. French Belgium. But some fun, interesting stories, And I love shows because you can really push the creative edge in terms of what we do at our shows. But I think now as a brand, I've really wanted to brand myself more as an educator and as a teacher, not so much that showman in those days.
I know that a lot of people ask you like, hey, I want to, be a platform artist. I want to be like Sam Villa. So what do you usually say to those people?
Wow. What I normally say is, to ask themselves why, what's the reason why? Give you a story. A Redken artist comes up to me. He says, Sam, I deserve to be a tier 4. I'm like, okay, tell me why you deserve to be a tier 4. So it's levels 1, 2, 3, 4. 4, you're doing international. He goes, well, Sam, I deserve to be a tier 4 because I've been to Japan. They sent me to Mexico. I said, okay, great. I go, are you up for some coaching? He goes, yeah, give me some coaching. That's why I'm asking. I said, all right, have a seat. How honest can I be? He goes, be as honest you want. I said, would you like to know why you went to those countries? He said, yeah, why? I said, because they probably wanted Chris Barron and he was booked. They wanted Chris Sorby and she was booked. They wanted Justin Isaac and he was booked. They wanted so-and-so booked until they came down to your name and you were available. And he just looked at me. And I said, so let me ask you another question. Why are you doing this? Is it because for a title? And he goes, well, why do you do this? I said, because I choose to make hairdressers better hairdressers, period. Never asked for a title, just doing what I do, and they push you. Eventually things come. I said, so I want you to walk away. I said, okay, let's do this. Ding, you're a level 4. Now you're competing against Chris Barron, Chris Sorby for these bookings. How busy you like to be? He goes, I love being busy. Well, guess what? You're no longer busy. Now you're in that category of artists. So I want you to leave this conversation and ask yourself, why are you doing this? Because to me, it sounds like you want to be a rock star.
Right.
So he left that conversation and never came back. So I ask people like, why, you could do what I do, but my suggestion is do it for a reason. What's the reason? Is it because you want to be a star? Is it because you want to see your name in lights? For me, that would be the wrong reason. For me, the reason doing what I want to do is just real simple. That's helping people, these hairdressers, just be better hairdressers.
Yeah. Well, that's probably what's made this lifestyle sustainable for such a long time, because we also see burnout so fast with people that become pretty big stars. They just don't last. Like stars that burn bright tend to burn out first, right? But yeah. I mean, you've been kind of at this pace, like you said, for what, like 20 years now? You've been on this pace?
Andrew, I went to beauty school in 76. I opened up my salon in 1980. I think 77 78, I started at my first salon. And every show I would go to, I would come back and I would teach whoever wanted to know, the stylist in there. So I started really doing things. And the president of Hayashi, she had heard about me and she booked an appointment, came in and got her hair cut, made up a name, made up what she did. And then at the end of the appointment, she told me who she was. And that was my audition. But I think, it's anybody can do it, guys. You can do it out there, but patience, it's not going to happen overnight. I've been doing this for 43 years now, teaching for 43 years. So I just want to remind everybody, started when I was 1.
You already told us you started in 76.
That would
76?
What's that?
You were 1 in 76?
Yeah, right. I wish. God, time flies. Oh, it flies. It flies.
So where from here? I mean, I'm sure if I would have asked you that in January, it would have probably been a bit of a different answer. But what do you picture from here?
Well, I got to tell you, this has all happened for a reason. And today, after this conference, I just thought, wow, it's a pretty powerful time right now that we have the opportunity we have. And I don't mean to say that COVID doesn't suck, because it does.
Sure.
But I think what we need to do is we have to turn this all into a positive thing in the entire industry and start to come up with new systems, new formulas, new ways, different ways that are going to uphold our standards, upgrade our standards, grow us as an industry. So this is an opportunity. So as a brand, I know we're looking at it as an opportunity in terms of the virtual education that's available now. But I also want everyone to understand out there that going to shows, once we're able to, in these conference locations, these convention centers open up, I think it's going to be, when it's all good and we get both thumbs up, not just one, but both thumbs up, that we're ready to go, then let's get back to those live shows also. And let's get back there so we can make those personal connections, so that we can mentor each other, so we can develop those groups of learning from each other. So I really believe that virtual education is valuable now than it's ever been before. Yet shows will be back. They'll probably be back in a way different way. Who knows how? But when they do come back, I'd love to see you there. We're going to be there. I want to be there. That's for sure. Rosie's asking, what does that mean to reinvent? Reinvent, let's say, okay, let me give you an example, Rosie. What I've been trying to do is reinvent myself as an educator. So I've been trying to figure out, okay, how can I teach what I've been teaching, but teach it in a different way? Teach it in a different way where it holds your attention. Teach it in different ways where it still has its simplicity. So that's what I mean by just reinventing myself. That would be an example of it, Rosie.
What's been your favorite thing about being isolated at home?
Family. I got to tell you, Lisa, my wife, and Mateo, it's amazing. I just, love them both. I think it's been tough because I travel. And Lisa knew that going into this relationship. We've been together, for over 15 years, married for almost 7 now. But the idea is that I really reconnected with my family. Watching Lisa and how she's raising Mateo, and then watching Mateo's personality change every day. I mean, he's at that age of 3. Oh, it's tough, but it's tough in a way for me when I'm in this studio and he comes in and opens the door and he's like, Daddy, let's play choo-choo. Let's play choo-choo. And I'm like, oh God, Daddy has to finish this video, or Daddy has to finish this. And he just puts his head down, turns around and walks away. It's so sad, so sad. But I've got Lisa. She's such a great mom, a wonderful wife. I'm so lucky that I have Mateo and Lisa. Otherwise, Andrew, I don't know. That's what brings a lot of joy to me when I get out of this studio or when I get out of my office. Mm-hmm. I'm laughing, I'm laughing. And now we got a dog. So now it's like I got 2 kids taking care of each other. The dog eats everything. I can't believe it. This little dog is so cute, but he eats everything. I brought something out I wanted to share with everybody, and this is something that's quite different that maybe people don't know. But in beauty school, what I did a lot was I would just, think of hair that I would sketch it. So this is my, it's falling apart. Andrew goes, God, you save everything. But this is what I drew when I was back in beauty school. I drew this. This was my Dorothy Hamill. I was doing a lot of these cuts, these Dorothy Hamills. If you know who Dorothy Hamill is, just say yes in the chat. But I did this, and see, for those of you that say, well, I want to do what Sam does, this is like stepping outside the boundary of being a teacher, but, taking a pencil and paper and just sketching. So it really helped me to train my eye, so to speak. It helped me to train my eye to kind of see balance. There's a couple I did here. These are all pencils that I did. Anybody want to buy them? So I've got this one too, but look at, if I did this again, I would definitely change that forehead, change that eye a little bit. But I mean, you see, guys, this is crazy. This is a side of Sam that you don't know about. But I've got a bunch of these that I would do and just had fun just sketching hair. And, my friends would laugh. All the guys would laugh at me and say, what are you doing? And go, you silly guy. So this one I never finished. I didn't color it. God, okay, there we go. Yeah, but those were just fun things that, that were fun. Andrew's cracking. He's like, dude, where did those come from?
Well, one of the things that you guys probably don't know about Sammy, this dude saves everything. Everything.
Hold on. Let me grab it. You got to see this, Andrew, okay? All right.
So I'm going to tell him a story while you're grabbing that. Every time I go to stay with Sam at his house, I get put in I'll call it like the memorabilia room. It was just a room packed with all of his lanyards from every show he's ever been to, magazine articles. I mean, just trophies and hairs. Oh my gosh, it was crazy. I've never seen anything like it. It's like a museum. Oh, there it is. There's the lanyards.
Okay, this is every lanyard for every show I've done. Okay, as a matter of fact, this is one of them. There's two of them, Andrew. So this is one of them. And then Fashion Week, here's Fashion Week. Look at that. This was when General Motors was the sponsor of Fashion Week. But yeah, I got all Fashion Week in here. I think this was high school, my graduation. But yeah, bunch of stuff. Look at this. I mean, and you know what's great to go back and look and go, oh, I forgot about this show. I remember that show. But yeah, they're all here.
So cool.
They're all there. Yeah, Andrew, you're right. I save everything, but my wife, Lisa's like, why do you save all this crap?
Well, it's good you do. You're going to have, especially as Mateo gets older, and you'll have all this stuff that you can pull out and be like, yeah, and then this happened, and then this happened. And
Yep. Yeah.
We have a couple of questions that I'd love to throw your way. There was one up here that I really liked that I wanted to ask you. Hey, Sam, this is from Lynn Kaito. Hey, Sam just retired from behind the chair after 43 years. How can she continue to still be involved in the industry?
Hey, Lynn, how about getting in and working at one of the beauty stores? For example, maybe a distributor of some sort. Get in there, and that way you're assisting people in terms of product sales, things like that, or become a sales consultant. But I would recommend that. Try that avenue, Lynn. It still keeps you in touch with hairdressers. And then there's classes sometimes held at some of these stores. So I would check that out, Lynn. That'd be a great area to find something you might enjoy doing.
Yeah. And the schools too, and you don't necessarily have to go work for a school. People ask all the time, oh, how can I improve as an educator? How can I give back? Schools are always looking for people to just come in and do a 2-hour class or something. And Lynn, you have so much experience. Those kids would love to hear your story and hear about your lessons that you've learned through all that time in the industry. So that'd be great too.
Yeah. And I really believe schools, Andrew, right now, we've got to support schools. Mm-hmm. We have to support those students. I think the students are the rainbows of the future. We support the schools with our school system in terms of supporting them with Sam Via school kits throughout the country. And then we also support them with great education. So I really believe in the youth of the industry. You know, the youth of the industry are driving the industry now, and we have to support them 100%.
Fully. Rosie had a good question. I'd be curious about this too. Who taught you the braids that you do?
Oh, what a great story, Rosie. Hi, Rosie. It's great to see you again. You're always on everything with us. Thank you for joining us, Rosie. Rosie, where are you from? Write that down.
I think she said Jersey.
New Jersey? Yeah. Okay. Andrew, in 1980, 79, 80, I believe it was no, wait a minute. Let me go back. Okay. It was probably 78, 79 when Tony and Guy came to San Francisco.
Oh, yeah, that's right. You did tell me this story.
Anthony Moscolo. And I worked for a salon at that time where we were able to assist them during their show. Now, this was when Anthony, I think it was 18. Anthony and I have even talked about this. When he was 18, I believe, or 17, and he had his girlfriend at the time, his wife now, Pat. Mm-hmm. And Anthony was doing these hats, guys. He was weaving those hats, those basket weaves, never done before, never seen before. He was taking gel, blowing up balloons, combing the hair over the gel, making these shapes, and then he'd go out on stage and pop the balloons so you had these shapes, these gelled shapes. But that's what the trade-off was, that Anthony, the owner, made this trade-off where we would help him, but Anthony would come in the following day and teach us how to braid. Mm-hmm. So I learned how to braid from Anthony Moscolo, and I was taught, you know, this over-under. I'll never forget the rhythm of what he taught me, and making it, you repeat the rhythm. But that's where I learned how to braid, was from Anthony Moscolo, Tony and Guy at the time, who now is TG. Yep. But Anthony Moscolo, yeah, great story. God, that was a great weekend, that one.
Yeah. Andrea is saying she sketches out images all the time too. Who was that was talking about sketching out pictures for clients in front of them? Was that
was it Nicholas? Nicholas, yeah, I could see
Nicholas. Right. He was talking about sketching out actual haircuts in front of people.
I think it was his father too that was doing that, right? Yeah. Guys, if you guys ever get a chance to see Nicholas French, make sure you see him and listen to his history story. It's a great story. You know, I think schools need to have a history class. Yes. It disappoints me when some of these students don't know who Vidal Sassoon is. They don't know who Robert Labetta is, Trevor Zorby, Anthony Moscolo, some of the greats, you know, Renato Brunis, you know, some of these great people that I think we all need to know. Is the great Martin Parsons. You know, these are people that the students need to know.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, Sammy, I think we're getting towards the end of our time. Is there a kind of a final message you'd love to share with them?
No, I just want to thank people. I want to thank you, Andrew, for being who you are. I think you need to know how proud we are at Sam Villa to have you as the education director. You're such a good human being, aside from being a great hairdresser. But I think, guys, that this is what happens when you put good stuff across. You make these connections with great people, and it's about surrounding yourself with the right people. You know, I met Andrew through a great woman by the name of Geneva Cowan, who was our artistic director at the time. And she said, you got to meet this guy. You got to meet this guy. So thank you, Geneva. And we miss you, my dear. But thank you for the connecting Andrew and I together, because it's a wonderful connection. So the reason I say that also is because, you know, I have this saying where people buy people, then they buy things. So it's about, as a hairdresser, you've made a choice of a career where connections are really important and building relationships are really important. And I think that's a huge discovery right now with this crisis that we're going through, that a lot of people are discovering about themselves. Mm-hmm. And the only recommendation and the last thing I want to leave you, AC, is you know, respect yourself. You know, whether you make the mistake or whether you get it right, it's just a mistake. Respect yourself. And most of all, respect each other. That's so important. Let's continue to support each other in this industry, and let's continue to know that there's plenty for everybody. If you're not busy at the chair and you're wondering why you're not busy, ask yourself why you're not busy. Ask yourself. Don't ask your salon owner. Mm-hmm. Especially if you're sitting down, asking yourself, you know, why you're not busy. Ask yourself, why are you sitting down? So really focus on with intent and purpose, with every guest, every client that sits in your chair, because they're more valuable than they've ever been before. And remember, price is what they pay and value is what they get.
Absolutely. Well, I think that's a perfect place to wrap it up on, Sammy. Guys, again, we have tons more education coming. I'll pop that up on screen for you just real quick. Next week, we have Transformation Tuesday. We've got our special guest, Matt Beck, joining us. He's going to teach us a modern shag. Next Wellness Wednesday, next evening at the same time, we have the great Kelly Mason, intuitive coach, hairdresser, salon owner, mother, Reiki master. She's doing it all. And then, of course, we have our Skills Up training. We do also have Show Must Go On coming up this month, Sam. That's the 20th and 21st. On the 20th, we've got Jesse Linares and Anna Peters from the Sam Via Art team. We also have a good friend of mine. His name's Humi Aguchi.
Looking forward to that.
We started working with me back in the day at Tyson's Salon.
I love it.
He hadn't been in the U.S. for super long. Went to the local. I think he just went to the the tech school that we had in Salt Lake City. But he's a phenomenal hairdresser. Incredible hairdresser, incredible photographer, videographer. Like he took whatever he learned at Studio Salon and just took it to a whole new level. And on Monday, the 21st, then we have, and of course you'll be on there too on Sunday.
I'm looking forward to it.
And then on Monday, the 21st, we have you. I'll be on there with you. We have Anna Peters again. And we have Mr. Hugo Urias from Redken.
Yes. So, if you've never seen Hugo, Hugo's amazing. I just challenge you to watch his hands. Watch how his hands move, and when he cuts and when he finishes hair. The guy's got a great, great eye and a great pair of hands. Don't miss Hugo Urias.
Yes. So yeah, tons more education coming your way. And thank you guys so much for watching another Wellness Wednesday. We'll see you next week.
Don't forget to follow us on Instagram at Sam Via Hair. And if you're not subscribed to YouTube, what are you waiting for? Subscribe to our YouTube channel. Thanks for watching, guys.
See ya.